Hi guys! As some of you already know, about 9 years ago I was hosting a radio show on an American web station called Fuego Beats. This show was called Electric Delights, and now, once a week, I'm uploading all 46 episodes on Mixcloud. The link is in the description of this video. Why am I telling you this now? Well, because one of the bands I was playing more often at the time in that show was Siva Six. And today I have the great pleasure finally to have a chat with Zed. So let's not waste time and let's go to meet him. Hi Zed, thanks a lot for being here with us today. As I said in the presentation, I was playing your music about 10 years ago on a radio show, so it's really good for me to have a chance to finally see you in person and have a chat with you.
Thank you, Sergio, for your invitation.
Good. So let's start immediately. And my first question actually is about the lyrics. We will come to the music a bit later. Now, the song Fight the Machine is included in your latest album, Death Cult, and also on an EP of the same name released a few months ago, which contains also 7 remixes of the song, just to give a general information. Now, in the lyrics, you say, "We are fighting the meta world." And at the end of the video that comes with it, the machine is identified with the dollars, so the money. Can you elaborate more on that? So what makes you think in that way?
I think that in all of us, the situation should be pretty clear. There is a group of elite which they are trying to control the rest of us, and probably this has been going on for the last thousands of years. It is just evolving. It is just a natural progress of the same pattern. So control use to be forced with some standard ways. Now those ways of enforcement are just changing, for example, into the digital platforms, the social media. But at the end of the day, it's the same story. It's a person which is trying to take advantage of other people's work, other people's time, other people's discipline in order to increase his personal profit. The game, more or less, was always a dirty game. So we should be, all of us, aware and understand that no matter the age we're living in, no matter the tools we work with, there's always danger. We should be careful, we should be open-minded, but we must never forget that actually this is the history of humankind. People taking advantage of other people, people lying to other people. Politics, for example. It's not the man politics were born to serve. It's about earning at the present time. It's not about serving, it's about earning. And I could talk about the topic for a long time. So we must be careful. We must try to save our personalities and our souls. And we must learn to see through the glass.
I see. Thanks a lot. Yeah, very, very interesting explanation about that. Now let's move to the music part. And your music is quite hard in a way, but still you often use like a piano and sometimes even strings. And I mean, I hope it doesn't sound offensive to you, but to me, the piano is actually the signature sound of Siva Six, even more than the harder sounds, let's say. And there's also like plenty of interesting melodic elements, like minor chords that create that gloomy, menacing atmosphere that I like so much. So it's not just like boom, 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 that goes on forever. So that makes me think, when you compose your songs, your music, in your mind first, and then you start recording, do you start with these melodic elements, so like with, let's say, more mellow sounds, and then you add the harder parts later, or do you mostly start with the heavy beats and then you build the melodies over the beats?
Um, the music, the songs, the tracks I have composed so far, they always start from the melody. It's always a melody. Most of my tracks um, are beginning with me having a melody in my mind as I walk down the street, or being in my house and just having my coffee, or after waking up. It just comes up a melody in my mind. So the first thing I do is that I grab my mobile phone or a recorder, and I'm trying to um, somehow sing this melody. For example, just got a melody in my mind, which is like a okay. Then I record it. I go to my home studio, which is I'm right now, and I'm just the first thing I'll do is I'm going to use a piano sound or a synth lead sound, and I'm going to like da 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 da. I'm going to work a bit on it. I'm going to add some basic drums on it, like do pop do pop do pop da 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 da. And bit by bit, I'm going to create a track. And if I'm if the track managed to catch my attention for a few hours or for a couple of days, then I know that I have to work with it. So I never start with a beat. I never start with drum or bass. It's always a melody. And
Melody
most of
first.
the time it's recorded in my mobile phone.
I see, and the rest then follows. Okay, thanks a
Yeah.
lot. Now, in 2016, you relocated to Leipzig, at least for some time. And so
Okay.
I'm wondering, has this relocation somehow affected the way you create your music, or there was really no change in terms of like sounds or production or anything else related to the Siva Six project?
Well, subconsciously, definitely. Since the environment a person is living in, it's a non-stop stream of influence. So definitely, my relocation in Leipzig, and Yuri's, my bandmate, relocation from Athens as well in Stuttgart, um, somehow formed the conditions under which we came up with our latest album. Um, so the answer to your question is that, yeah, definitely, living in Germany was an influence, subconsciously and consciously as well.
I see. Now, you consider Death Cult as your best album so far. What makes you claim that?
I'll tell you what. Uh, when you when you do create um, sort of stuff such as music, probably you can't be the best judge. Mostly when it comes up to your own work. But I strongly feel that Death Cult is one of our best albums ever. I can't really be sure if it is Death Cult, if it is Black Wheel album, or if it is the Twin Moons album, because lately I've been between those three albums, thinking that they're probably the best albums so far. But what makes me feel real good is that many people we talked with, people that we gave interviews, reviews we saw in the internet. Many people mentioning that Death Cult is probably our best album. But even if it's not our best album, uh, being in a band for more than 15 years and creating albums, EPs, and whatever you do create, and listening from various people that this is probably your best album, um, this is an honor for me personally, for the band, and it makes you think that it's worth my effort and my time as a band. I mean, our effort and our time we put in the band. Because after all those years we've been around, our latest album has been considered probably as our best one. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, because it proves there was an evolution. Sometimes the bands, they make their best album is the first, and then they actually go down.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the fact that you seem to be doing the opposite, of course, is a great thing, and it must be a great feeling for you as well.
It looks like, yeah, and it makes me really happy.
That's
Because
great.
also, as a person which I strongly admire and respect has said, people that do create uh, is the entertainers and the creators. Uh, Entertaining actually means not really progressing, but copying your own self, or maybe you're afraid to let yourself in the flow of progress. Creating does not really have boundaries. Of course, we do have boundaries. We we are moving around the subgenre, but as you can clearly hear, as you mentioned before, we use a lot the piano. We have soundtrack like atmospheres. I'm not afraid to try singing with a different point of view. So this is about progress. And if you don't progress, you're not a creator. You're just an entertainer. It's a really a big compliment for me thinking and seeing that probably I'm on this side, in the creator's side.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Now, your tracks have been remixed by more than 60 bands, and that's a lot. So I was wondering, which elements of your project do you think make your music so desirable, let's say, when it comes to remix a track? And could it be that the fact that these melodic elements that we were saying before, which makes a lot of your tracks good for being reworked and treated and maybe reproposed in other genre, also one of the reasons for this?
Uh, there's probably 60 or more bands that have so far remixed our music, our tracks, and it feels great, to say the least. Uh, I mostly don't have a clue about the motivation behind most of the bands that did what they did with their music, because sometimes it was about personal connections, people we have shared the stage with, or just people we know from bands, and we just had a talk like, would you like to remix a song? It was also our labels that were offering these remix slots to the roster. Um, but yeah, I'm also very somehow proud and happy that many bands have remixed the tracks and they have truly remixed our music. They have put so much work on it. They have bring on board their own style and elements and characteristics. And I really love a remix when it really blows my mind with an idea I was not really waiting for. I like surprises because honest creation is about a lot about the surprise element. So yeah, many bands have done some great work. Many bands really expressed um, the happiness somehow working with our music because I had the chance to feel free with it and do what they ever wish to do. If somebody listens carefully in our remix albums and the remixes we've been releasing for the last 17, 18 years so far, uh, a listener can really understand that there's a very big variety of influences and music genres that we are really happy to include in our vision. For example, uh, it has been a black metal remix. There has been a neo folk remix. There has been um, like a more steady heavy rock mix, electro, noise, ambient. We totally welcome any music genres and creators and people that would like to do it their own way. And this is what remix should be about.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Now, I have a couple of questions about your live activities, which is quite intense. But actually, the first one is not really about you, sorry, but let's see if you can answer. You have performed more than 100 shows in 19 countries and share the stage with bands such as Front 242, Suicide Commando, and Clan of Cymox, and so on. But since I'm a big fan of Typo Negative, I was wondering if you had any interaction with the late Peter Steele, and if yes, what memories do you have of him? Since a lot of people are missing him, so I think it would be interesting, if you had a chance to talk to him to to know how he actually was like.
We shared the stage with Typo Negative 15 or 16 years ago. Um, Typo Negative is a unique band. It's a great band. Uh, when we received the offer to share the stage with Typo Negative, there was no second thoughts about it. We said yes, we'll do it. Uh, Actually, we never thought that we would share the stage with such a great band, firstly, and secondly, with such uh, a successful band. The guys from all the band members were totally cool, easygoing. We shared beers with, we chat with. As we were sound checking, they were listening to our sound check, and they were really having fun with. They told us that they really like what we do. They were really supportive, really anti-rock star attitude. We saw them, a couple of them, I think it was the guitar player and the keyboard player. While we were on stage, they were on the one side of the stage, just banging their heads and being in the mood and having fun with what we were doing. I had the chance just to have a small talk with Peter Steele. He had a very positive and calm aura, very good vibe. He's a great singer. His voice is really unique, as well as the songs of his band, of the band. So yes, it was a unique moment in our story so far, and a privilege as well. Meeting the band, sharing the stage with, and having the chance to talk and share drinks and having fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for remembering Peter this
Mm.
way. Now, of course, I have an idea of how your stage looked like in terms of instrumentation, but can you please give us some more details of what you actually bring on stage with you?
Well, we try to be flexible. not to carry much gear as much as possible. It also has to do with the financial part of gigging around or touring or having just a single live show. So on stage we have a MIDI clavier, we have a synth, um, 3-4 octave synth for some special sounds keyboard player is using. We're using a laptop, we're using a sound card, and as far as it has to do with my voice, mostly using reverb and delay. And all the so-called distortion is happening inside my throat. It's a guttural thing.
I see. Yeah, in fact, I had a question. My next question would be about your voice. If you're using some like special effects to make it roll like that, both in studio and on stage, or if it's
Not
mostly natural, let's say, and with
not
very little treatment.
it's mostly natural. Of course, our producer is using delay and reverb, probably a bit of this and a bit of that, but it's mostly happening in my throat.
No, no much distortion then, artificial
No,
distortion,
no,
let's say. It's all
not really,
natural.
not really, not.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
uh, I don't really like uh, an overdose of effects because um, it's really deforming the natural instrument, which is the voice. Uh, so I'm happy with the outcome, not that much, and I'm just okay with it.
Okay, we have reached the last question, and all the people who are familiar with the electronic corner already know that it's what I call studio demonstration. And now, usually artists, they like to record a separate video and send it to me so that I incorporate it then in the interview. But in this case, we're going to have a live demonstration. So Zed is going to show us what he has in his studio. And well, I leave it up to you now.
Well, to be totally honest, I'm not a tech freak. I'm not a studio freak. I'm not a genius when it comes up with technology or any tech gear. I try to keep it minimal. I just use what I need. Um, for example, my main DAW program is Cubase. I don't really like using many plugins. Uh, I mostly feel good with 5, 6 plugins and end of story. I use a lot of Contact, Nexus, uh, and a few more plugins like Serum. I mostly have a MIDI clavier, which is escorting me like half of my life. Nothing special. A couple of near field monitors, a compressor limiter rack for my voice, and it's mostly about the vibe. The most important part of sitting in my home studio is being focused. I don't like talking with people or interacting with people before I sit on this chair. I want to be focused in the feeling which the track I'm working on is giving me. I'm trying to be a part of the world that this track is creating. I am becoming one of the character or the main character of the song. It's about feeling and experiencing the whole atmosphere, the lyrics, and the emotion of what is going on. For example, I can write a part and I can suddenly start to cry because I'm there. It's part of my life because most of the stories written and becoming lyrics is part of my life. So it's not about just sci-fi things, which you just came up with your mind, which I have done it a lot also. But it's about being there, being tortured there, suffering there, or enjoying that part. I just wanted to mention that. So it's about focus, entering, and let it happen. I don't know how it's happening. It's just happening. So since, as I mentioned before, I'm quite low tech and I'm using actually an old camera, um, the scenes I will show you from my home studio will be also a bit low tech. So I'm going to grab my camera right now. I'm going to slowly bring it just in front of my studio, and I'm going to show you the MIDI clavier I'm using. It's an old Kavai K4 MIDI. This is the rack actually I'm using for my voice. It's a compressor and limiter. This is the pair of near field monitors I'm using, which the best part of them is the decoration. And this is just some parts of my home studio where you can see. This is where I spend most of my time when I am composing or writing lyrics. So, as I said, it's nothing fancy, nothing special, nothing high tech, but it makes me feel good. And it's actually all I need.
Yes, and that's all that matters in the end. I always tell the people who some guys are worried. Like they say, "Oh, I don't have a fancy studio to show you," and I say, "I don't care." The point is not how cool your studio is, but what you actually do with the things you have. And let me add you also what you said before. About you being part of the song. But I think also everybody else who is watching this, we felt it in not only your words but also in the tone of your voice, in your posture. So you really made us enter inside your word for a couple of minutes, and I'm really thankful for that, Zed. So
I
thanks
would
a
like
lot.
to add on top of it, Sergio, as you mentioned, because I know that many creators, songwriters, or producers uh, are really freaking about technology and everything new that's coming on the scene, and they just want to buy every instrument or every new synthesizer or old synthesizer it's on the market. Yeah, it's cool. It's great to have a big rack with 5, 10, 15, 20 synthesizers, for example, or drum machines or music boxes or whatever. But at the end of the day, is what you do with them, how good you can use and work with what you have. It's also about what I mentioned, and it's really important for me. It's all about being focused. How much focused can you be when you don't really know where to start with, or you don't really have become one with the instrument you're using? Uh, that's why I think this motto is more important more than ever. Less is more. And this is one of the mottos which I really like. That doesn't mean that what I do is better than what you do. It's just the way I feel things work out for me.
Yeah, and it's interesting what you said. Less is more, because it's exactly the same quote I had from Cosmo Cocktail, another guest of the Electronic Corner a few months ago, when he decided to streamline his studio. Actually, he used to have more stuff, and then he realized he was using maybe only half of it. So he got rid of what the superfluous, and he just focused on what he had. He got very good at that, and then we can hear the result now. So you obviously are following the same philosophy, and I can only agree with that. So thank you so much, Zed, for being with us today. It was very interesting indeed. And well, good luck with your uh, future albums, which I'm sure will entertain us still for a long time. And well, take care.
Thank you very much, Sergio. Thank you very much.